everybody. This is Ryan McClanahan with HistoryThroughCards.com. I hope you're all doing very well today. So, I want to tell you a little bit about the 1941 All-Star Game. In fact, what I was originally intending to do was tell you guys about Joseph Floyd Archie Vaughan, because I really think he's one of the unsung heroes of the 1941 All-Star Game. Uh, However, he's also a Hall of Famer that has really been kind of overshadowed, I think. And I think part of the reason why is that he was very, um, he's underrated, but he's also a very quiet ball player. You hear a little bit about him in the press, but he uh, he he died in 1952 trying to save another fisherman. He was on a fishing trip, and a storm rolled in while he was fishing, and he drowned. But from what the newspapers said at the time was that he was actually uh, trying to save another fisherman, and that's how he drowned. And he's probably not your most well-known Hall of Famer. In fact, from what I've read in the papers in 1985, it took a long time for him to actually get in the Hall of Fame. He should have been there years ago, but again, he has this thing where he's just, throughout his career, he's your blue collar ball player. Just show up to the ballpark and do your job and go home. And he did that without really any fanfare. Um, and that's probably kind of what cost him a shot at the Hall of Fame for all those years. And I think it really kind of took a bunch of fans to write in and make a case for Archie Vaughan to get in the Hall of Fame. And I think that was also maybe the case with Chuck Klein as well, because Chuck Klein didn't get into the Hall of Fame until 1980, and he had passed away in 1958. So, with this, I did see a lot of really interesting ball players who were in the 1941 All-Star Game, and it took place on uh, going through some of my notes. Some of this also is going to be just from my direct memory as well. I believe um, it took place on July 8th, 1941, and it was actually, I think, the first game in which the National League did not win. I think prior to that, you have um, the National League winning five All-Star games, and this is the first time since that the American League won, and it's only because of Ted Williams. So what happened was that the National League was up 5-4 in the ninth, and Archie Vaughan had actually hit two home runs. I think he may have been the first ball player to actually do that in a All Star game. Now Archie Vaughan is actually well known for being the understudy of Honus Wagner. Uh, he came up in the major leagues in April of 1932, and he was very young, so he made a lot of mistakes early on. And he was the backup to Tommy Trevinow, who was in the 1933 Gaudy set. Uh, Vaughn has a 1933 Gaudy himself. It's actually a really nice card. The thing what I've noticed about that card is that the registration can be off on it, so it could be out of registration is when a card does not line up correctly on the printing plate, and that's where the registration comes in. You see that a lot on the 1957 Topps set quite often. Anyway, the thing with the All-Star game that year is that there was an attendance of 54,674, which I think is quite a lot, and it was in Briggs Stadium. And you have, let's see, um, you have some really interesting things going on here too. I had read a few articles on this, and there was one article that said, I'm going to quote directly from it. It said, "The most discussed uniforms in this All-Star game were those worn by members of the Chicago Cubs. They looked something like a cross between a girl's softball outfit and a basketball uniform." And I thought that was pretty funny because it is like the first year that the Cubs would have a sleeveless uh, jersey. And what I remember really kind of, if you're looking at the 1950s baseball cards, especially with the 1957 Topps Ted Kluszewski, he has a sleeveless jersey on, and that was because his shoulders, his arms were so big that um, he couldn't fit into them, and so he had to cut them off. In fact, Ted Williams also cut off uh, the the arms of his jersey too, and the Red Sox really didn't like that at all. And so uh, the thing was with Ted Kluszewski was it affected his swing, and you have today you have the Reds, you have the Pirates. I'm trying to think the White Sox. They all had sleeveless jerseys, and that's because Ted Kluszewski was on those teams, and it's a holdover from Ted Kluszewski's era. The thing is, with the White Sox, think there's more jerseys that they've had than ketchup varieties. I I want to say it's well into 60 different types of jerseys that the White Sox have had. The Cubs have had quite a bit too. I think in 1931, they had three different jerseys during that year. One with the cub. It's really kind of a neat jersey. It's got like a script cub on it, and it's a red C with the dark blue cubs, and then a pinstripe. And then I think they had two other jerseys that year. But as far as this jersey is concerned, um, Dizzy Dean kind of defended the jersey. He liked them. He said that they were light and it was very comfortable fitting. And those jerseys actually they lasted, I think, up until 1945 or so, or at least 1944. Um, and the other thing too about these jerseys were, they did get quite heavy. I remember a couple of ball players saying just, if it was a 90-degree day out, your jersey would weigh at least 20 pounds because of all the sweat inside, and they were made from wool. And yeah, I can't imagine wearing a wool jersey. But um, there's a few other ball players too in this 1941 All-Star game, which I wanted to kind of highlight. Cecil Travis is also in this, and he's really well known in 1941. It's one of his breakout years, and he's got two doubles in the All-Star game, and so does Ted Williams, in fact. And he's one of the reasons why the American League won. Um, However, Cecil Travis and I think even Buddy Lewis also they were already claimed by uh, the Army by the time the All Star game happened, but they both got deferments. Unlike I think Hugh McCauley, the pitcher, I forget exactly what team he might have been with the Giants. Anyway, he was the first one to actually go into the service in 1941, and he missed the entire season. Now, he's not in this All Star game, obviously, because he was already in the service. But he's found in the 1941 Gaudi set, um, And Cecil Travis has a few cards out there. His 1941 play ball is a really nice card. I actually own a copy, and let me let me see if I can try to find that for you. I'll be right back, guys. I found it. It's actually this right here. This is it's the 1941 uh play ball. This is actually it's kind of trapped in a cocoon, if you will. But Cecil Travis is probably one of my favorite ball players that is not in the Hall of Fame, and I really wish he was. The thing that kind of prevents him, I think, from being in the Hall of Fame is the fact that he missed so many years in the service. I think he was with the 77th Infantry, and he was in the Battle of the Bulge. And as a lot of people know, he got frostbite on both of his feet, ended up in the hospital, and then he actually went back into the field because he didn't want to leave his fellow soldiers, and I can understand that a lot of those guys just they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to go back. He probably had a golden ticket to go back home, but he continued, and it cost him his career. To tell you the truth, um, and when he got back, he couldn't run. He absolutely just he had a horrible time running, and his feet just kind of gave out on him. Um, Ted Williams, Bob Feller, and just a whole slew of ball players were behind him and trying to get him into the Hall of Fame. And it's really too bad. Uh, anyway, in 1941, he had a breakout year. I think his rookie card is actually in the 1936 National Chickle Fine Pen Series, and it's a premium. He does have obviously cards from like I just showed you the 1941 play ball, but he also has a 1941 double play with George Case as well. And George Case is a really cool ball player, uh, and he's got a great story as well. So I also kind of thought put that away real quick. I also kind of thought that Buddy Lewis would be in the 1941 All-Star game as well, but he had come up in 1936 with the Washington Senators, and I just kind of brought out one of his cards, which is right here, and that's it's kind of a blurry image because my camera doesn't like to take pictures of baseball cards apparently. But this is the 1937 OPC, and this series is actually kind of more known for the hockey series, uh, but they also have some really great ball baseball players as well. And I really like the design on this. Now the design actually is kind of reminiscent of the batter up from 1934 through 1936, and where you can kind of peel back the top half, and it's like a cutout. And so it's your cutout series from the Great Depression. Anyway, um, they're not easy to find. I'd say they're scarce, in fact. In any case, let's see who else. Oh, the other another player I thought would be in here too, and I brought him out just because I thought he would be in here is Harland Clift, and he was another really great ball player for the Browns. Unfortunately, he was not. He did make one All Star game, but I think he came up in 1933 and led the league in strikeouts that year. But this card is also autographed too, and it's a card that I was looking for a very long time. It's in the 1941 play ball set, as you can see, and it's a really nice card. So, getting getting off track on the 1941 set, but there's a bunch of other ball players that I want to kind of tell you about. So another ball player who was a backup was Dom DiMaggio, and Dom DiMaggio came up in 1940 with the Red Sox, and his roommate happened to be a guy named Jimmy Fox. Now, in 1941 or 1942, and I think that's 1942. Um, one of those years, he got beamed in the head, and he was never the same ball player again. He was really plate shy at that point. But Dom had always said that Jimmy was a great guy, and he really did a lot to help him out as a ball player. So he was his roommate, and so um, Dom Dom is really a very underrated ball player. I always liked Dom. I talked to him quite a bit while he was alive, and the thing is, he went into the service like kind of like shortly after this. He was in the Navy, but he he um he had something wrong with his eye, and I believe 1943, some kind of like eye disease. Um, but he was a stellar outfielder. Uh, what happened when he was in the Navy was that first off, he I don't think he really had any business being in the Navy, to tell you the truth. However, he was one of those people that just he wanted to be in, he wanted to serve his country, and the Navy said no, absolutely not. And it took him a very long time to actually. He was initially declared 4F, and then the Navy decided, okay, fine, we'll let you in the service. Um, and I don't know what kind of strings he had to pull to actually get in the service, but I think he also did some time on a PT boat too, if memory serves correct, in the Pacific. But he was a tremendous ball player, and he was. This was actually the first of seven All-Star games for Dom DiMaggio. He he really kind of played in the shadow of his brother Joe DiMaggio, and it's really kind of too bad because he just did a lot of really great things with the Red Sox, and he was with the Red Sox up until 1953, and he quit because of his eye, and then on top of it, Lou Boudreau was just driving him crazy. And after 3 games, he said, "Ah, that's it. Have a nice one." And so he quit. But this was also the same year that he had the first of six MVP votes as well. That's 6 years of MVP votes. That is, just to clarify. Uh, I was kind of hoping that Dom would get in the Hall of Fame during his lifetime. I think he passed away in 2009. He did very well. The guy really was very smart. He really was. When they call him the little professor, like they're not kidding around. He was a very intelligent person, and I really enjoyed talking to him. His brother, on the other hand, Joe DiMaggio, I never met Joe. Um, I'm not sure that I'd really kind of want to tell you the truth. I might have a beer with the guy. I'm not sure. Um, this obviously is the year 1941. It's very famous for two things. Joe DiMaggio has his hit streak, and it's actually broken up by a guy named Ken Keltner, who's actually in this world, yeah, in this All-Star game. Ken Keltner is actually on the Indians, and I don't know a whole lot about Ken Keltner other than the fact that they say he was a superb ball player and that he broke up Joe DiMaggio's hitting streak. Joe DiMaggio's cards are a little on the pricey side. I don't own any of his cards. I do own uh, Dom DiMaggio's 1941 play ball. I didn't bring it here to show you guys, but I will. Um, and Dom DiMaggio is not really lacking for cards either. He also has a 1941 double play as well. That one I think is a little bit more harder to come across than the play ball, but people really kind of like the play ball set in general. Myself, I kind of enjoy the 1941 double play set just because of the photography and for that set in particular. you're going to find a lot of ball players who uh, you might not in other series. So just for that reason, and uh, because the double play set is actually a Massachusetts set, and there's some history behind it that you're not going to find in any other set. And I'm not going to tell you what that is because I am actually writing an article about the set right now. Um, so um, let's see, who else do we have? Roy Cullenbine is another ball player who's in this, and um, he's actually not known really to have too many cards. He's in the 1941 W753 set, which is it's a set of the St. Louis Browns, and there's another one, the W574, which is a team set of the Cardinals, and actually do have a card of, and so actually they look like this. This is Johnny Berardino. Johnny Berardino is actually an actor as well, and he's not in this All Star game. And in fact, I don't think he ever made it to an All Star game, other than being a fan. Um, this is a really interesting set, as is the Cardinal set, because you're going to find a lot of ball players that you're not going to find anywhere else, or very few sets. Um, Johnny Lucidello, Bobby Estella, and he's a really interesting ball player. And then Inky Strange as well. Um, I think actually Bobby Estella is in the 1949 Alerta Premium set. Yeah, he is. That's a great set. If you guys can nail down a few of those, you might enjoy them. It's a Cuban issue, and Ray Dandridge is in that set, and Quincy Troop as well. And I think Quincy Troop might actually get in the Hall of Fame at some point. There's a lot of Negro League ball players in that set, and I'm going to show you that set specifically in another video. I get on all these tangents here, and then I have to kind of like get back. So you have Bobby Dorr, and Bobby Dorr came up in, I want to say 1936. His first card is in the, I think, 1937 Gaudi Premium set, and he's also in the I think the play ball set in 41. Um, and he oh, in the 1938 Gaudi set, Dorr is in too. And a lot of people actually kind of seem to think that Bobby Doerr's rookie card is that 1938 Gaudi, but that's not correct. It is a very popular card though, and one that I would love to get my card collecting mitts on. Bobby Dorr, I knew Bobby Dorr for a long time, and out of all Johnny Pesky and those guys, Bobby Dorr was the quietest, but he was a very nice guy, and on occasion he would say a few words. Um, the thing with Bobby Dorr, as I remember too, is he also got beamed in the head early in his career, and it really kind of messed him up. He was lucky though. Unlike Jimmy Fox, Bobby Dorr was able to get back to the plate. He did have, I think, he had some back injury sliding in, I think, to second base, and early on, in, I think 1937 or so, and it was just something that nagged and nagged him throughout his career, and he finally retired in 1951. But Bobby Dorr does have a lot of cards out there. One of my favorite Bobby Dorr cards is his 1951 Tops card, and I kind of rather also enjoy the 1941 double play, but that's a really kind of a difficult card because Lefty Grove is also on it, and it makes it kind of expensive. So I never really kind of see that card anyway. Anyway, uh, let's see, Rudy York. At one point early in, I think, 1937, 38 or so, they tried to make Rudy York a catcher, and it just absolutely did not work. It was garbage, but he was a really good, solid hitter, and I think he was with Detroit Tigers, and then with the Red Sox at one point too. I always kind of thought that Roy Columbine was also on the Red Sox, but he wasn't. He was on the St. Louis Browns up until 1942, and then I think he was with the Yankees and the Indians as well. Um, Bill Dickey, again, he's not lacking for cards. He's got, I think, a few cards in the 1933 Gaudi set, and the 1939 play ball set is probably I actually own that card, and it's a very nice card. I do enjoy it, but it's not expensive. So uh, I kind of think that Bill Dickey is an underrated ball player, especially because he's a catcher, and a lot of people kind of uh, think that he is kind of overshadowed, and I think he was with the 1930, I'm sorry, 1927 Yankees. Um, I think he's on that team. If not, he's on the 1928. But it's right around that time, and I always get these things confused exactly when he came up. He did have a pretty bad blowout with Carl Reynolds of the White Sox. He actually decked Carl Reynolds, and it hurt him pretty bad, and he got suspended for just a ton of games. As I remember correctly, uh, Carl Reynolds was actually a really good hitter, and he went to go into, I believe it was home plate, and just he got decked. He just, for whatever reason, Dickey just swung at him and just knocked him to the ground. Uh, so Reynolds, he lasted a little while longer, but um, it was kind of like the Pete Rose Ray Fosse thing in the 1930s. So it didn't look good for Bill Dickey, in all honesty. Um, there was another incident I heard about with Arky Vaughan, in fact, where I thought that was just kind of interesting, and the fact that uh, it was the bottom of the ninth, and Arky Vaughan left his glove in the field, and he had asked Eddie Miller if he could grab his glove, and I'll get to Miller in a minute, but uh, Miller forgot, and he went back, and when Vaughn went back at some point, his glove was gone. Now Archie Vaughn was pulled by Bill McKechnie in the ninth, so he wasn't in the game. I don't think it would really kind of do much anyway if Vaughn was still in the game at that point. Um, what happened was that you had two men on, and Ted Williams was up, and two guys out. So really, it was up to Ted Williams, and you had Flash Gordon and Joe DiMaggio on base. Now, Joe DiMaggio actually he almost grounded out, and it almost cost him the game. And Ted Williams went and he hit a walk-off homer to win the All-Star game. So, um, getting back to Floyd Vaughn, um, he couldn't find his glove anywhere, and it was gone. And he looked all over the stadium, and so it was a lawyer by the name of William G. Fitzpatrick who found his glove, and I don't know actually how he got it, and so um, he raced into the clubhouse and he said, "I have your glove. I was keeping it for safety because I noticed that you left it on the field." And so what Vaughn did was he grabbed a baseball and he signed it for him and thanked him. Um, and from what I've heard from a lot of ball players that were around in the late 40s and early 50s, was that they would usually leave their gloves in the field and pick them up later on. The problem with this was that during play, if you didn't see the other ball player's glove on the field, you could slip on it, trip on it, your cleat could get caught, and it was actually a liability. So, um, from what I've heard, is that leaving your glove there was really kind of like 1951, 1952. The clubs said, okay, guys, you have to pick up your, you can't, leave your glove there. You have to pick it up with you and take it into the dugout. So by the early 1950s, that practice was, uh, dead as a doornail. um, all right, so um, getting back to, let's see, Eddie Miller. I told you guys I was going to get to Eddie Miller. So Eddie Miller was a ball player that I had heard about for a long time, and he's really kind of a defensive wizard and kind of a light hitter. Is what I've heard is that he came up in 1936, and a lot of guys coming up in 1936 for some reason. Um, anyway, he comes up, and I don't think he played a whole lot of games. He was with the Reds or the Yankees. Yeah, I think he was with the Yankees, and I don't think the Yankees actually they purchased him. They purchased his contract, but they didn't play him, and they sold him to, I think it was the Braves, and or the Reds. He's on both of those teams, and I can't remember exactly what years. So I didn't I didn't check this out. I'm kind of going by my memory here. Um, he breaks his leg pretty badly early on, and it almost ended his career. I think that there was a trade there between Miller and the catcher for the Braves. I'm sorry, the Reds, called Willard Hirschberger, and the two, I think, they crossed paths a couple of times in their career, and unfortunately for Hirschberger, he's known today for really for offing himself in the Boston Plaza Hotel, the Copley Hotel in Boston, and that is a place I do not want to go because I have heard it's haunted by several people. Uh, Anyway, the way he did that was just, I don't want to get into it. It's not good. It's pretty gruesome. Um, but now it's in, I think 1940, and the Reds ended up going on to and winning the World Series. Now the Reds actually went to the World Series in 1939 as well, and they lost in 4 games against the Yankees, which I think any team facing the Yankees in 1939 would have lost. But the just the fact that the Reds actually made it to the World Series, I think it was the first time since 1919, really kind of shows you that they had a great team. Because Miller is such a great defensive ball player, and I think because he's on the Braves, that he's the number one card in the play ball set. Um, from what I know about Miller, I talked about him to other ball players on the Braves who were on those teams in the 1930s and 40s, and Eddie Juiced in particular. I spoke to because he knew Eddie Miller. Miller had passed away in 1997, so I never I never got a chance to interview him or talk to him or do any artwork for him, but I did hear about him from other ball players, and Eddie Juiced was one of them. Now, between both of those ball players, uh, they have management issues. Uh, they were very contentious or cantankerous when it came to management, and actually same with Johnny Mize as well, very famous clubhouse lawyer, if you will. But with Eddie Miller, he really hated Casey Stengel. He thought he was just the dumbest person on the face of the earth, because he was his first manager, from what I've heard. And Eddie Juice really felt the same way too. There's a real difference between Bill McCackney's management style and Casey Stengel's management style. Everybody really kind of gelled under McCackney as a manager of the Reds, but not everybody liked Casey Stengel. I know everybody says Casey Stengel is a, just a really awesome manager, and he's in the Hall of Fame as a manager, and so is McKechnie. But if McKechnie knew that there was a ball player who was kind of a troublesome ball player, if you will, he would intentionally room with that ball player just so he'd get out of trouble. And he was really kind of a fatherly figure, if you will, to a lot of the ball players on the Reds. And he did a lot to help them out. And he's one of the reasons why you have um, those two ball clubs, the 1939 and 1940 Reds, end up in the World Series. He's a huge part of that. He does have a lot of cards out there. He's not one that you're going to have a difficult time finding. I believe he's in the 1912 T207 set as a rookie, um, but that is going to be a difficult card for you. If you are going to look for a Bill McKechnie card, he's got a 1938 and 1939 Reds team set. Those are actually really nice cards. I have a few I didn't show you guys. However, those are going to be really easy. Then he's got a Val Decker set. He's in that set as well. And that's from 1937, and it's an oversized card, but it is kind of nice. And I think it also is gonna be a little on the expensive side. However, he's also in the 1940 Reds team set as well, and those cards actually look a lot like Bowman cards from 1948. But the color is going to be a little off on those, and the back is completely different as well. So, um, let's see who else we got here. All right, Jeff Heath. Uh, Jeff Heath is really kind of known as a home run guy. I know he broke his leg pretty badly, um, and I forget what year it was, but I think maybe 1948. I could be wrong. He's in the 1947 Tip Top Red set, and the Tip Top Red set from 1947 is a really interesting set. There's a lot of Hall of Fame rookie cards in that set, including Yogi Berra and who else? Ralph Kiner is also in, and George Kell. Now the thing with that set is that for every team, uh, the Tip Top Red uh, set would be issued, but just for that team. So the in the Boston area, you would have the Red Sox and the Braves, and I think both of those were actually short printed. Then with the White Sox and the Cubs, you could only find those cards of the players there, um, and so on and so on. Pittsburgh Pirates cards would only be found in Pittsburgh, um, and then so I don't think that Jeff Heath actually has any other card. He might actually, he might be in the 1946 Sears premium set. And then you have, let's see, Del Baker is the manager, and I think he's in the 1954 top set. Uh, he he's really kind of a he's really kind of a racist dude from everything I've heard. He was a good ball player in his time though. And I don't know a whole lot about him except that he was, I think, the manager of the Detroit Tigers at one point during, I think, 1940. Um, and I also can't kind of seem to think that Billy Southworth was also a manager of the Tigers too, but I could be wrong. I know Southworth was with the Braves for a long time, and his son ended up getting killed in World War II, unfortunately, and it was one of the chief reasons why Billy Southworth Sr. ended up passing away. Oh, Eddie Smith. So Eddie Smith is a pitcher for the White Sox, and he's going to be your hardest card, the toughest card to find of any of these um, players that you might want to pick up. He doesn't have any cards that I'm aware of during his playing career, and his career was cut short during World War II. Um, but he does have a 1979 Diamond Greats set, and he's the only player that I'm aware of that started the season in 1941. I think it's 41 with an 0-10 record as a pitcher, and then he went on to the All Star game in 1941, which I think is crazy to me. Um, and then you have Bertie Tebbetts, and Tebbetts was a long time Detroit Tiger. I think he came up again in 1935, or 19, I think it's 1935. He's got a couple of cards out there. He's not the toughest ball player to track down. Obviously, he's in the 1951 and 52 Bowman sets, so you're not going to have a hard time with him. He was a decent catcher. From what I've heard, he was in the 1935 World Series with the Tigers. They went back to back World Series, 34 and 35. And somebody threw a crate of fruit at him. Which I hate to laugh at this because it knocked him out. So another guy you might have maybe a little hard time finding is Thornton Lee, and he was actually on the Indians at one point, and so you're going to find him on the 1936 National Chickle Fine Pen Premium set, and he's also on the 1934 Batter Up set as well. I kind of like the Batter Ups, and just because there's no real artwork there, um, it's it's more the photography and just trying to find the cards because some of those cards can get really difficult to find. So it's a real chase, but they are kind of fun. I do enjoy it, and for all you who might not know, the batter ups are actually issued by the National Chickle Company in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Uh, I, I I know exactly where that is. The building no longer exists, but I'll get to that at some point. Anyway, um, another another ball player you might have a hard time finding is Hank Lieber. So he's actually in the 1941 Cubs picture pack, and picture packs were actually pretty popular back in the day. They were issued by the team, and I think you could find them at the stadium. Uh, in any event, there's going to be a lot of ball players in those picture packs that aren't found anywhere else. So some of them are actually probably a best bet to grab little known players or um, players that I guess are like Dizzy Dean. In fact, he's in the Cubs picture pack, and I think uh, actually I think that Dizzy Dean may have retired with the Browns. He Yeah, he did. I think he played one game with the Browns in like 1947 and then retired. But he's going to be found in at least one, if not two, picture packs. I think from like 1939 with the Cubs, which is really kind of strange to me. In fact, this is getting off topic. However, Dizzy Dean was pitching in the 1937 All-Star game, and he caught a line drive um, from Earl Averill, and it really got him good. and it screwed up his. He went back to the field too quickly, is what happened, and it screwed up his mechanics. And Dizzy Dean was never the same ball player again. Anyway, uh, you have Bob Elliott, Mr. Team, on the 1941 All-Star game as well. Bob Elliott was the 1948 National League MVP, and he's obviously the number one card in the 1948 Bowman set. Um, he passed away in 1966, and his autograph is quite quite difficult, if not rare. I have seen a few of his autographs on card, and that's what you would probably want to find. He does have some 3x5s, and those are kind of tough too. Anyway, he's called Mr. Team for a reason, and he was a really good ball player. And I kind of forgot that he played this early. I think he may have actually played with the Pirates. I'll have to check. Marius Russo. Marius Russo was with the New York Yankees as a pitcher, and he did actually hit. So this is when pitchers routinely hit in the American League, and he's found in the 1941 double play set. I've heard some pretty good things about Marius Russo over the years. Um, and he doesn't have a whole lot of cards other than that. I think his career was kind of cut short. Anyway, and then you have Ted Williams, Mr. 406 himself, and Ted Williams does have a lot of cards out there. The 1941 play ball is a really fantastic card. I've passed that up several times when it was cheap. Now it is not cheap. But I've noticed over the years with the Williams 1941 play ball card is that it can really dull out the background and the card itself. Uh, some of them can be a really rich reddish orange, and then others can look like a just a burnt tomato, just absolutely nasty. And so that's one of the problems with the 1941 play ball set in particular is the color variations or the color changes. The other interesting thing with that set too is that you'll find a lot of different backs, players with different backs, and I have one, and let me go and see if I can find it for you. Hold on. Okay. So this is a 1941 play ball card, obviously. This is Chuck Klein, and it's the back that I kind of want to show you. Um, that's the back. I actually picked up this card in Cooperstown when I was in the Boy Scouts, and I think I paid a whole whopping $17 for it. But what you're gonna really kind of notice with a lot of these cards is that this, they're all gonna be like this. They're all gonna be upside down, as you can see if I turn it around. There we go. Um, However, um, by 1941, Chuck Klein was a player coach, and he was really on the decline even in the late 1930s. But uh, he is someone who I really wanted to add to my collection, and he was a awesome ball player, even though he was never really the same ball player after I think he got traded, I think he got traded to the Cubs. However, it was one or the Phillies. It was the Phillies. Um, After 1934, he was never the same ball player. But um, the I don't know if these cards actually have a premium to them. Um, and you're gonna find I think every single ball player pretty much has a card that looks like this. Um, and just there's something about the printing then that was garbage. However, it is really kind of interesting to see the way that Bowman transitioned, or Gaudy Gum Inc. Or basically it is Warren Bowman, uh, and so you know, seeing how they transitioned from black and white all the way to what they were in 1950 is pretty interesting. That's that set. It is a great set too, by the way. For any of you novice collectors out there, I highly recommend grabbing a few 1941 uh, play ball cards. They're not that expensive, and you can actually complete the set. Your biggest obstacle is going to be the Ted Williams and the Joe DiMaggio. However, let me see if I kind of want to show you guys a few others. That's the Eddie Miller #1 card in the set. That's actually the same image on the 1940 um, play ball as well. I'm not a fan of the 1940 set. The last card in the set is a guy named Atwell, and he is not easy to find. However, I think he's on the Phillies. Yeah, I think he's on the Phillies. It's a tough card. And your 1939 play ball set, obviously. Um, your last card, Whitey Moore, is going to be really difficult as well. And then uh, Dom DiMaggio, rookie, as well. And this is actually it's a really nice card. I do enjoy it. But I like Dom DiMaggio as a ball player and as a person too. He was really cool. And then 1941 is actually a really great year for cards, baseball, and non-sports as well. And you have a few others, which this is a 1941 Gaudi set, and this is really interesting too because uh, this set is notorious for being off center and not really having a lot of known or name ball players. Um, if you really wanted to, uh, you could collect all of the cards, but um, each player has a different color. So yellow, blue, red, and green for each. And Mel Ott and Kyle Hubble are in the set as well. They're the only Hall of Famers, but um, there are a few ball players that are short print, and so it's going to be a great challenge for any collector. But I actually kind of like the set, and it's also a set that was only issued in the Boston area. It did not leave Massachusetts, and I don't have sales figures for it for Gaudi. I could try to find them. I know where they are, but Gaudi after 1933 went on a downhill slide when it came to sales, and by 1947 they issued, I think, like maybe one or two sets, but they never issued another baseball set after 1941. So you got that set, and then you got the obviously the double play set, and well, this is also on a cocoon of something or other. Let me try to get this out for you guys. You get a better view. So that's it right there. Um, there are some ball players in this set that are going to be really kind of difficult, just for price reasons. Um, but I think there may be a few other cards. There is a ball player in this set that I'm not going to disclose right now, who is pretty difficult to find, and he was in a what probably should have been a landmark court case over players' rights in 1941 through 1942. I am writing an article about that. These things take a little time. However, I really enjoy the set just for the photography and the ball players. And this is Red Ruffing and Flash Gordon, or Joe Gordon, and they're obviously in the Hall of Fame, and they're both in the 1941 All Star Game as well. but I do enjoy this. And then I have a lot of these cards actually. I picked them up when they were pretty cheap. I still think they're actually really cheap and very affordable. Um, the thing if you try to collect some of these double play cards, um, they're they can be found split down the middle, and what I mean by that is they're broken off, and if they're broken off, I think they're only like 5% of the actual value, and this is Jimmy Fox and Joe Cronin. Joe Cronin was also in the 1941 All-Star game as well. I don't know how well he did. I've never been a fan of Joe Cronin, um, not as a ball player and not as a person. Um, I think he caused a lot of problems for personnel and people who he thought may have been an issue for his career, if you will. Very career-oriented guy, which I understand. Um, Again, he was the son-in-law of Clark Griffith, um, and uh, he was actually, I think he was traded to the Red Sox, and I want to say 1935 or so, or 1936. But he's got a lot of cards out there. He's not difficult. He does have a really nice 1933 Gaudi. He's got a batting, basically a portrait card in the 33 Gaudi set, and he's got two other fielding cards as well. And I like them. They're okay. They're nice. To each his own, I guess. Um, I actually just kind of picked up this card because of Jimmy Fox, and this may be actually your cheapest bet to get a Jimmy Fox card. Jimmy Fox does have a 1941 or 19, I think a 41 or 42 Red Sox picture pack, which is actually really nice. A lot of those guys in that picture pack are sitting in the dugout, which is actually a really nice thing because it's a different view of the ball player. You don't usually see that in a lot of either photos or whatever, especially cards. And I'm not sure how you guys would feel about a picture pack card being an actual premium or card. Um, you guys can let me know down in the comment section. And then let's see, I'll put that away. And then and then obviously Archivon. And I actually bought this for like $10 and I didn't off eBay. And the one thing it really taught me a lesson because I don't know if you can see this. There is a rip like, right there. And I don't know if that's gonna be. You can probably see it. However, I did not see that on eBay, and I bought it for like $10. Um, However, this is the thing where you have to kind of like really pay attention to what the photo is on eBay because you can get ripped off pretty bad. But Ike Vaughn is a player that obviously I think he was the 1935 National League batting champion, and he's got a bunch of cards out there. His 1933 Gaudi rookie is I, I'm not sure if it's going to be all that easy to find. Um, it may be a challenge financially, but he does have cards out there. Um, the 1936 Gaudi wide pen, I think he's in that as well, and obviously the 1939 play ball. I don't have any play ball here to show you guys, but that is a really nice set, and obviously it's a set that is just solely the picture of the ball player in black and white, and George Brace and George Burke did the photographs for that, and those guys were both like really just your premier baseball photographers and sports photographers in the 1930s. So 9 times out of 10, you're going to grab a photograph of George Burke and Brace in the 1939 and probably 1940 and 41 play ball set as well. That's it for right now, guys. It's been a long one, I'm sure, and I'll probably get to this. Oh, you know what? I don't want to go anywhere without telling you a little bit about Mickey Owen because Mickey Owen is actually in this All-Star game as well, and he does have a few cards out there, and he's very famous for the passed ball incident in I believe 1941, and it cost the Dodgers the World Series that year. And he also um, is famous for being thrown out of baseball. He was suspended for about 5 years for going down to the Mexican League, and um, he's a really interesting ball player. Again, he's got a few cards out there, um, and I think he's in the 1941 um, the double play set, and so he's also on the 1950 Bowman set too, as a member um, of the Cubs. And I'll get to him in a little bit too. So with that, guys, again, thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Give a like and a thumbs up, and I'll talk to you later. All right, bye. Thank you.